Indiana Jones is now an objective failure as a film. And now that we've seen this box office turd, the question is, Kathleen Kennedy, she was on the chopping block. She was rumored to have been having a exit right after Indiana Jones comes out. So what's the status of that? And what are the legal consequences of her leaving right now, her leaving soon? And my prediction about what will happen with Kathleen Kennedy and how the scenarios with Kathleen Kennedy will play out in terms of her leaving Lucasfilm. As always, I am Andrew Esquire. And this is A Legal Mindset. We teach you to be your own judge. I am a Florida attorney, and of course, I've been following these Disney things very closely. And this is one I've commented on before because it deals with the termination of a very, very, very powerful executive of a company. And whenever you have a high-ranking, powerful individual within a corporation, they have a contract. They're not just an employer that's working at will, that may not have necessarily a specific employment contract, or rather, most employees may just have a very generic employment contract. They sign up, here's your basic job duties, here's the date, here's your hourly rate. No, Kathleen Kennedy has much, much, much more, including the possibility to be terminated and what happens if she's terminated early and what constitutes breach of her contract. So we're going to get into that because now that we've seen Indiana Jones, these questions are coming up. So obviously, just to start with the basics, Indiana Jones is a box office flop. Dial of Destiny is shaping up to be a very, very, very expensive endeavor for Lucasfilm and for Disney at large. And if we really look at this and nail down into the numbers, and this is courtesy of my friend Mexican Iron Man, Mike, so thank you so much, and he tweeted this out. If you look at the take here, right, and you look at the percentages they're actually taking, in domestic and international, and you understand, by the way, that the studio only gets a certain percentage of that. They only get 60% of the domestic take, 40% of the international take. So you look at all these numbers, you put these together, and you less out, which is something that they hardly ever do. You less out production and marketing costs, right? So you always have to less out the costs. So you go ahead and you wipe those costs and you look at it. We're looking at between $331 to $425 million in loss. That's right. Let me say that again. 331 to $424 million in the hole as of date for Indiana Jones. This is absolutely a travesty, absolutely a giant turd in the box office. And I think that's pretty unequivocal. And look, I think many people called it. Many people knew this was going to be bad. Right now, a lot of the folks on Twitter, the Disney stans out there, are trying to pretend this was they're trying to polish that turd. They're trying to pretend this was actually good, that, this is something that had its moments. They are also turning on the fan base. They're calling all of the fans who do not like this toxic man babies. They're calling everyone bigots, misogynists, all the normal moves for everybody out there to make fun of the fans, to attack the fans, to hate the fans, because obviously that's going to get more people in the box offices by calling the fans stupid and calling anybody who dares disagree and dares dislike it to be alt-right, to be fascist, misogynist, whatever else. Of course, that is going to really engender people to go and see this movie when you're politicizing it. Yeah, we've already learned that doesn't work, and of course we know that doesn't work. But that being said, the objective reality is it's a failure. Now, who do you lay this at the feet at? Well, the buck stops here with the head of that branch, of that division, that subsidiary. Obviously, you could say, hey, Iger's the head of Disney. Okay, yeah, I get it. But Kathleen Kennedy is the head of Lucasfilm. So the question is, with Miss Kennedy, why does she still have a job? And I think, look, I'm going to be honest. There are about 1 million Kathleen Kennedy is getting fired tomorrow videos out there on the internet. And we are going to address what I think is the biggest rumor and speculation, this is a speculation I'm going to give credit, came out 6 months ago now. So we're going to talk about that, but about what's going to happen with Kathleen Kennedy right now in terms of her being, fired, let go, staying on. So let's get into the basics, right? Kathleen Kennedy, obviously, she loves the woman narrative. You can see her here, and I'll zoom in with her the Forces Female shirt. She said that almost all the films that she wants to have a female director, prominent female cast. She's got a very specific agenda, if you will, for Lucasfilm and for any project that she's on. So obviously this has failed. Her legacy is failure. But that being said, when can they get rid of her? Well, there's a little problem with just firing people. And this is what a lot of folks don't understand, especially a lot of people out there, and why I'm covering it from a legal perspective as a lawyer. Because if you go out there and you've got one of these people at a high level, executive level, and you just fire them, you can get a lawsuit. Some of you may remember the lawsuit by the Acolyte executive producer, Karen McCarthy. If you remember Karen's lawsuit, which is still out there, by the way, has not been settled, right? Karen McCarthy's lawsuit was over her breach of contract. And just like Karen McCarthy, if willy-nilly Kathleen Kennedy is fired, yeah, people can sue. And in fact, honestly, if I was Kathleen Kennedy's lawyer, I would tell her to sue, because Disney would absolutely 100%, for the sake of transparency, for the sake of saving face, they would absolutely settle this case with Kathleen Kennedy, much like I anticipate they will with Karen McCarthy in this lawsuit as well. So obviously you'd have a breach of contract case, and this is big. These things can have potentially massive liability, because they can not just claim, hey, here's my wage, but let's say there was any sort of performance bonus. Well, they can say, hey, look, the facts show that I was going to get this performance bonus, that all these movies were going to be peachy keen, the next month was going to be crazy, the down numbers are just due to COVID. Therefore, everything's going to get turned around, everything's going to be amazing, and I'm going to make billions and billions of dollars for this company, despite the fact that my track record has been failure. You can make that argument, and a good lawyer can always make a bad argument. But that being said, I don't think they're going to want to go the breach of contract suit. I don't think that at any point Disney is just going to say, you know what, you're fired, right? You know what, you're out, and breach her current contract. Now, what is her current contract? To be very clear, her contract has been renewed through 2024. So it was renewed in 2021 for 3 years through 2024, I believe through November of 2024, but I could be off on the exact date, but through the year 2024. So we still got time left on the clock, even if that was January 2024, right? So we've got some time, but people are saying right now, well, Kathleen Kennedy should be fired tomorrow. She's going to be fired next week, next month. Well, hold on there, Kimasabe. We got to look at this, and we've got to actually really examine this, because we don't want to end up once again with a breach of contract. So if they were to terminate her without negotiating, without settling, without coming to what's called a severance agreement, agreeing on the terms of her departure, yeah, there's going to be a huge problem. There's going to be a massive problem if they just cut her without coming to an agreement, if they cut her early. By the way, they'd be cutting her like, at this point, let's say she goes, next year at some point. So what, they're cutting her a year early? To be honest, people have been talking about Kathleen Kennedy's departure for the past 5-6 years, based on the box office failures of Star Wars. So at this point, what is really another 1 year? I got to be honest about that. But where do these things come from? Well, they come from these rumors and, tips and comments from inside. And I do want to give respect to everybody who gives these rumors, whether it's Doomcock over there, or we're going to watch a video with Cameron Pasha and my good friend Valiant Renegade. I respect these people, and I respect that they're willing to come out there and talk. But you do have to understand that rumors are just that. They're rumors. And rumors can also be a complete and utter psyop as well. It can be people messing with you. It can be Disney intentionally putting out bad information, or Lucasfilm intentionally putting out bad information in order to make you lose your credibility. right? So these things are all possibilities whenever it comes to rumors, which is why you don't just have to take them with a grain of salt. Frankly, I don't believe any of the rumors until I actually see the press break, until I actually see the things come out. And I know that on YouTube, a lot of people want to be the first. They want to say, I told you so. They want to say, I said this 6 months ago. But frankly, more often than not, they're wrong. And the details that they have are absolutely wrong because they miss some of the realities that are going on. So I do want to get here to this comment by Cameron Pasha to talk about his exact prediction. This is from a stream with Valiant Renegade back in the day. Once again, my good friend, and Cameron, I would say, is a guy I've met on stream, cool guy as well. But I want to get into his theory and remind you, this is 6 months ago. So 6 months ago, we're talking January of this year, he made this prediction with Valiant Renegade. So let's listen in here to Cameron.
Relates to what we're talking about here. So now this information that I've held for a week, and I'm not choosing to put it out there, again, with the caveat that I do not have direct firsthand knowledge. I've not seen the documents involved. I can only relay what this person has conveyed to me, who claims that they have. Right?
So let's stop there, and I really appreciate that he has been honest, and he said, I don't know. Because frankly, if he has not seen the documents, pretty much everything he's saying right now is worthless. Because if you haven't actually seen a signed settlement agreement where both parties have signed it, hey, maybe there was a draft. Maybe they've agreed in principle, right? Because you can agree to the general broad terms of an agreement. You can say, oh yeah, we've got a deal. Wink, handshake. But unless you've papered that agreement, unless both parties have signed it, yeah, that's not an actual agreement. And by the way, if both parties mutually agree, they can back out of that agreement. In fact, oftentimes, if it hasn't been completely finalized or formalized, even one party can often back out of the agreement before that agreement goes into effect, before it actually is passed into effectiveness. So just be very aware to not just take it with a grain of salt, but frankly, don't believe it in a sense, because you don't know until you actually see the hard documents, the hard facts about whether these things are true or not, particularly when it comes to legal agreements and things that have massive consequences. So let's listen to his prediction.
And so this is the information that I've been received from this Lucasfilm employee, which is that apparently Kathleen Kennedy has reached a severance settlement with Disney. She has reached an agreement with Disney, according to this source, and he gave me specific information as to what is in that severance agreement. And if you're comfortable with it, I'll share what the numbers are.
Yeah.
Okay, so you know, having not seen the agreement, so it's you've not seen the agreement, but somehow you know the numbers because you're told the numbers. That to me, and this is from a legal perspective, a lot of red flags go off because somebody is either breaching an NDA, and frankly, the only parties that really should be looking at that are Kathleen Kennedy, Disney, and the lawyers, right? So is a lawyer breaching confidentiality? I highly doubt that. I really highly doubt that. Is Kathleen Kennedy leaking this? I mean, that could be a crazy psyop. That'd be really smart on Kathleen Kennedy's end if she's leaking information, or, you know, she's trying to get it out there, or maybe she leaked false information, right? But you just got to be very careful that they're giving you the numbers, but you haven't seen the documents, you haven't seen a draft, so you have no idea whether or not this thing is legitimate or not. It'd be much different if you saw a signed agreement. But let's continue here.
Please.
The claim is that I've been given is that the severance contract that she has closed with Disney would give her between $25 to $30 million in a severance golden parachute payout to leave Disney. But my source said what's interesting is that a very substantial amount of it is in stock or stock options, to the point that my source actually made the comment that they were surprised. They were surprised at how large a part of that severance package was in stock.
So let's stop right there real quick. So he's saying, okay, he's got about a $25 million severance package in stock. Well, understand that Kennedy's package is only really worth $10 million a year. By that, I mean her employment agreement is about $10 million a year. So they're paying her in stock options more than she even makes in actual revenue, right? So this is actually a really sweet golden package deal. So it really makes me lift an eyebrow. Now, Disney's stock has tanked. You know, you can go into a meta theory that Disney intentionally tanked its stock, that it knew it was going to terminate Kennedy, so it tanked its stock on purpose. It doesn't make much sense to me, particularly with the Hulu deal being much bigger than even Kennedy getting fired or released. But that being said, is it possible? Sure, it's possible. Stock options are often involved. However, they're giving her more value than even her contract. So wouldn't it be just easier to just kind of retire her informally and let that contract expire? Wouldn't that be better? I don't know why there's the rush to push her out and pay her so much more than the extra 10 million they would get just by waiting one extra year. What's the big deal? So why are you paying her 25 million to leave when you could just pay her 10 and have her stay? It really begs a lot of questions here. Are they really thinking that whatever they're going to produce in that next year is going to be so much more profitable without just Kathleen Kennedy? I think the problem is that you need to have an entire woke purge. You need to purge pretty much all of those folks from Lucasfilm. However, we know they're not going to do that. So let's continue here with this narrative.
We can have all kinds of theories as to why that's the case, but that certainly isn't outside the realm of how these kinds of arrangements are made. But that's
pretty normal.
Yeah, that's the breaking news that we have the claim of an actual closed severance agreement with Disney for her to depart in 2023 to the tune of $25 to $30 million, substantially in stock. And
now, by the way, the term closed, I would assume here that the term closed implies that it was signed. Once again, not having seen that document, very dangerous to say that it's closed, right? You don't say a deal is closed till it's been effectuated. I don't think Cameron understands that from a legal perspective, but it's not closed until it's been acted upon, right? So, okay, we've gone and we've said, okay, Kennedy, you are actually fired, right? Here's your severance package. So signed, maybe it means signed, maybe it means executed. It's possible. But once again, this was 6 months ago, so this would have been very, very, very preliminary. Now let's listen up to the timing. The timing is very suspicious here.
My understanding is that she will be allowed to quietly remain the head of Lucasfilm for a few more months, and tying into what we were talking about, that the exit appears to be linked to Indiana Jones, which I understand June 30th, I believe, is the release date of Indiana Jones. And so,
by the way, so it released earlier. Obviously, we have the release now. So Indiana Jones is obviously out. We've seen the failure aspect of it. So at this point, is she out yet? Well, if it was supposed to be tied to the release, well, it's not yet, right? Because she's still there. Now, could they let it percolate another month and then let her go? Sure, but I don't know how likely that is. Let's listen in here.
Theoretically, shortly thereafter, probably early July, maybe shortly after the whatever accolades they hope to get out of Indiana Jones, which may or may not exist, but whatever press they can get out of it, they will then announce her retirement, at least present it as her retiring on her golden laurels of whatever the numbers end up being with Indiana Jones. Mm-hmm. So,
and now we know, from this, now we know that the numbers, right? The numbers are indeed bad. In fact, we know the numbers are very, very, very bad. So we've got Indiana Jones. We know that's out. That's the theory right there, was that Indiana Jones is going to come out, and shortly after, you're going to have the retirement of Kathleen Kennedy. So this month, right? We're going to have this month. My prediction here is that is not actually going to happen this way. Now, it could happen in the coming months, but here's my big skepticism with this from a legal perspective, from a legal and financial perspective as well. There is a lot of risk to executing a severance agreement, particularly when it's got that large of a package. And I think since everything else that they're producing, they produce movies, years ahead of time. It's pretty much already in the books. They're not going to be able to course correct on what's happening over the next year. I think that the sunsetting of Kathleen Kennedy does not happen right after Indiana Jones. Now, why do I say that? I think that they may have thought that Indiana Jones would be actually successful in the box office. But if it is a tragic, huge failure, the last thing Disney, a woke corporation, wants to do is turn around and piss off Kathleen Kennedy and turn around and make her look like a fool and let these toxic man babies like Valiant Renegade and myself, who are calling out these films, calling out their woke practices, they don't want to let us win. And if she walks away right now, I think people online are going to take that as a W, right? They're going to sit here and be like, we won, we got Kathy, we got her out. I just do not think that is, from a PR, from a business standpoint, that's how you want to run out, saying, okay, she was not successful, so we cut her, right? I think that's more likely they allow her to sunset out a little bit closer to her date. So let's say a couple more months down the line, so it removes itself from this failure, right? Maybe still gets her out a little bit early, maybe announces a retirement or says, I'm going to retire at the end of my contract. That would be the proper way. I always have said that these things are more logically and legally better handled if they're tied to a contract date. So anytime anybody says anything without addressing that contract date, I think they're missing out. I think they're missing the big picture. That being said, Valiant Renegade, great source of information, great source of running those box office numbers. Love that guy. Cameron, good guy as well. And once again, he caveated his rumor, but I do think that rumor is going to be indeed proven false. And I do think they're going to either end closer to that contract date next year, or maybe late this year if they let it percolate for a couple extra months. And they may want to work down those stock options. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that Kathleen Kennedy is going to be fired tomorrow? Do you think she's going to be fired today, next month? What do you guys think? I really want to know in the comments below, so please let me know. Please like, share. If you like this type of content, if you like me kind of doing these more thorough, comprehensive reviews, let me know. Let me know there also in the chat, because this will be coming out as a premiere. And I wish you guys all the best. Thank you for helping me to 100K. I appreciate it. And if you're not subbed, I hope I've earned your sub. And I will catch you on the next one. Peace.